is up, you guys? Welcome to the Chosen League podcast, where fire sports content is the name of the game. I'm your host, Devon, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys about last night Rose Bowl game, Michigan Wolverines versus Alabama Crimson Tide. But before we get into all that, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. Let's get into it. The Tide rose no more as Michigan Wolverines upset the Alabama Crimson Tide, beat them in overtime 27 to 20. That was a back and forth battle. There were too many lead changes. There were a lot of highs and lows. But first, we're going to start off with Michigan's defense. They sacked quarterback Jalen Milroe from Alabama 5 times in the first half. 5 times in the first half. And the thing about Alabama is they were playing a team that had a great defense. They really haven't been playing any other teams like the Michigan Wolverines. So Michigan did a great job getting Jalen Milroe out of his rhythm, making it uncomfortable for him to really do whatever he wanted to do and help his team score. They also got 2 fumbles, and Michigan's defense was just too quick for Alabama's offensive line. So that's basically it for Michigan. Michigan really did their job. They did what they're supposed to do, and the results of this is them winning the game. Moving on to Alabama's offense, poor pass protection. They didn't do a really good job of protecting quarterback Jalen Milroe, and you can tell by the frustration, especially from the 2 poor snaps in the third quarter back to back. The first poor snap by the center, you have to do a better job of snapping the football, especially when quarterback Jalen Milroe is in shotgun formation. He was literally looking at his center, was like, come on. Like we got to get it right. We can't be making these mental mistakes in a game like this. So poor pass protection, poor snaps from the center in the third quarter. They scored their first touchdown in the first quarter. They had the lead first. So then, Alabama also struggled to move the ball down the field. But in the end, during the fourth quarter, Alabama manages to take the lead. And that's when later on we'll get into overtime. They go into overtime, and Michigan comes around and does what they need to do. But looking at Jalen Milroe, 16 of 23, 116 yards. He didn't get any touchdowns. Most of their touchdowns came from their rushing. Alabama's rushing yards as a whole, 39 carries, 161 yards, 1 touchdown. Passing yards, 14 receptions and 104 yards. That's all Alabama could give you. I feel like Alabama could have done more, but they couldn't due to the defense of the Michigan Wolverines. And with the thing about Michigan's defense, they had to switch. They were playing too much zone coverage, which given Alabama cushion and gave quarterback Jalen Milroe time to throw the ball, just take time in the pocket and find his open receiver. Once they played that man coverage defense, there was nothing they could do, and that's what happened. Moving on to the Michigan Wolverines offense. J.J. McCarthy, 17 of 27, 221 yards, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns. And looking at them as a whole, receiving yards, 17 receptions, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rushing, they had 32 carries and 130 yards. See, their offense, Michigan's offense was also a struggle, but also JJ McCarthy himself, he started to struggle a little bit the second half, third quarter and fourth quarter. He was trying his best to score, but the only issue with McCarthy was he was throwing the ball too quick, which didn't give his receivers enough time to get to the spot where the ball was. They couldn't get in the position where the ball was because he was throwing it too quick, especially the pass to Wilson where the ball went right through his hands. So the good thing about Michigan was the great trick play they ran in the second quarter. J.J. McCarthy in shotgun formation snaps the ball, They make it seem like it was going to be a jet sweep because the receiver came in motion. So it was like a jet sweep. Throws the ball to his receiver. Receiver runs the ball, turns back around, throws it back to McCarthy. McCarthy with a one-hand catch, plants his feet on the ground, has his feet set, throws the ball. Then you got a first down. And plus they were on I believe the 30-yard line. And at that moment, that's when they were going to score again. And I love that trick play. That was a great trick play by the Michigan Wolverines. That was great. And then they end up switching quarterbacks. And this is where if you watch the game, I watched the game as well. I was like, okay, they're gonna run another trick play, and they had their running quarterback, but he's also a passer, but mainly a running quarterback. So they ran the play. It just didn't come to fruition because Alabama read the offensive scheme and they knew what they were gonna do. So he ended up having to run the ball out of bounds. That play didn't work out. They end up bringing back in McCarthy. And that one play where Michigan scored their second touchdown, they would have been up. It would have been 14, but they missed their field goal. That also happened in the second quarter. And then also the 4-yard touchdown pass to Wilson at the goal line. That's at that point, that's when they scored that touchdown and then they missed their field goal. And then in the fourth quarter, they tied the game. They tied the game after a battle from trying to fight and claw to get a first down, to move the ball down the field to get to that point. And the thing about Alabama is Alabama got the ball in the second half after halftime. Then you move into overtime and you have Alabama who wins the coin toss, but they give it to Michigan? You give the ball to your opposing team even though you won the coin toss? Make it make sense. How do you give the ball to the opposing team? Michigan's offense is hot. They've been ready. They're ready to go. Their defense has had time to rest, but Alabama's defense hasn't had time to rest. They didn't even have time to take a breather for a minute. It doesn't make sense. So then guess what happens? A 17-yard rush by Blake Corum, number 2, running back for Michigan. And he was still on his feet. And he got the touchdown. Made the field goal. Now it's up to Alabama to score. And even though they got to the goal line after 3 attempts, well, actually all 4 attempts they failed because they were so busy trying to run the ball. They ran the ball on the first and goal and second and goal. Then on third and goal, they wanted to do a pass and it wasn't going to work. Then fourth and goal, Jalen Milrow, he trying to be hero. Oh, I'm going to run the ball myself. Why would you run the ball down the middle when the defense is stacked in the middle? The defensive line of Michigan Wolverines is stacked at the middle. So they're going to crunch up the middle where you cannot run through the middle. You could have cut to the outside and y'all could have got a score and it would have went to the second overtime. But they didn't do that. And then now he's upset after the game with himself. I'm just like, you only can be upset with yourself because of the play call that you chose. The play calling where they decided to run. He was trying to be hero. He was going to try to do something. But in that situation, that was the wrong play to call. I believe that was a bad play by the Alabama's offensive coordinator to call that play. Because there was no way he was going to run the ball up the middle and get a touchdown. No. Not at the goal line. But anyways, that is all for today's episode. Make sure you once again like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. I'm Devon, and I'm signing off.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show.